They have less than 30 hours of oxygen left, but there is one glimmer of hope for the 5 men on board the small submarine that went missing during a mission to view the Titanic.
Rescuers haven't seen anything yet, but there are new reports they've heard something. US correspondent Mitch McCann is at the Coast Guard search headquarters in Boston and he joins us. Mitch, what do we know?
Yeah, good evening, Ordini. In the last hour and a half, the US Coast Guard here behind me in Boston have confirmed that a Canadian plane flying around the search and rescue zone has detected noises from under the water. They've been described as banging sounds at 30-minute intervals. Now, that information has been passed on to the US Navy, and they'll take that into consideration with the search and rescue operation moving forward. And that really is the only glimmer of hope in what has been a day of bad news.
In some of Earth's most remote waters, planes, boats and even another submarine have failed to find the tiny Titan submersible.
Our crews are working around the clock to ensure that we are doing everything possible to locate the Titan and the 5 crew members. To date, those search efforts have not yielded any results.
The US Navy, Coast Guard and the Canadian Coast Guard are all joining the search. Time is running out for Titan with less than 30 hours of oxygen left on board. 5 crew have been trapped for 3 days on a trip planned to last just 8 hours.
I'm sick to my stomach with nerves. I'm terrified, I'm anxious. I'm not sleeping at the moment. Every single minute feels like hours. It's not good. It really isn't good. It will be a miracle if the crew returns alive.
The crew set off on Friday from the Canadian coast towards the decaying shipwreck 600 kilometres offshore. On Sunday, the submersible began its descent to the Titanic, 3,800 metres below the surface. But an hour and 45 minutes into that journey, all communication was lost. It's hard to overstate the difficulty of finding this vessel now. It's the size of a ute, missing in an area that would cover the distance from Hamilton to the top of the North Island.
I love adventure. I've been lucky enough to get opportunities in my life to do adventurous things.
On board the vessel is British billionaire Hamish Harding, who's been to space and has sailed around the globe. He's joined by Pakistani-British businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman. Also on board is French researcher Paul-Henri Nargeolet, who has led 6 expeditions to the shipwreck before. And OceanGate Chief Executive Stockton Rush is on board too.
This is not a thrill ride for tourists. It's much more.
OceanGate has been sending passengers to the Titanic for 2 years, each one paying around 400,000 New Zealand dollars. The company is the only sub in the world that can reach the depths of the Titanic and has made bold claims about its safety.
Your thrusters can go, your lights can go, you're still going to be safe.
Those claims are now being put to the test in the cruelest possible way.
Okay, Mitch, what else can you tell us about this company, OceanGate?
Yeah, well, it's been revealed today, Michael, that in 2018, 5 years ago, a group of exploration experts wrote to OceanGate, the company that owns this missing submersible, saying they were concerned about the experimental approach they were taking towards tourism down to the Titanic and said there could be catastrophic consequences. Fast forward 5 years to now, we're talking about this incident in Boston and hoping it's not going to be a catastrophe. Just reminding you, there is a glimmer of hope tonight that a Canadian plane in the search and rescue area has detected noises under the water. The US Navy will now take that into consideration as they continue the search and rescue effort, but the hours are counting down. Michael.
Absolutely they are. That's Mitch McCann. Kia ora, Mitch, live in Boston for us.
Experts have told Newshub survival is unlikely for the crew on board, calling the rescue mission a very daunting task.
Even if the submarine is somewhere on the surface, the 5 men are bolted in, and depleting oxygen supply means they may have mere hours to live. Well, Nick Trubridge is here with more on this. What can you tell us, Nick?
Yeah, Mike, we'll talk about drop in the ocean. The missing OceanGate sub Titan is just 6.7 metres long. If it's sitting on the surface of the water, it's a mere blip on a search area nearly 33 times the size of Lake Taupō. Now, if it's on the sea floor amongst the Titanic's debris field, that's the size of 1,000 football pitches. Now let's talk about actually getting down there. Blue whales can only reach 500 metres, while military subs, Well, they can make it about 750 metres before they're in danger of imploding. Now, the wreck of the Titanic, that's about 3,800 metres under the surface. Think 11 sky towers stacked one on top of the other. Now, the deepest underwater rescue ever recorded was only 480 metres when the crew of Pisces 3 was saved off the coast of Ireland back in the 70s. But as you've just heard from Mitch, noises below the surface are giving cause for hope.